has some current.
There's a dead cup coral near its base, but yeah, this is a beautiful, pretty sure it's going to be Bathypathes.
So some of you out there might notice that right to the rear of this black coral, there's a very interesting ornate structure that almost looks like a goblet or a cup with lots of big wings emanating around the edge. That is actually the skeletal structure of a lot of these corals, that single cup corals that we've been calling polymyces.
Complete. Thank you, Rich.
This is a proper type of coral, a scleractinian, which is the same group which occurs in shallow water in shallow reefs. Down in the deep, they're often single cups, and they have a very different type of structure, and there's actually quite a diversity of them at great depths.
You guys still happy at this heading, 285?
For science.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, you can come
It's
out.
pretty good for now.
Okay.
Really fighting current.
Do you guys want another move, or are you guys okay here?
Ship stopped.
It just stopped, yeah.
So I have pilot. I have you about 65 on my camera.
We could do another move. There's
I can
just
peek
a
up real
gentle
quick.
slope ahead of us. I can see it.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Do we do another 15, or what are you feeling?
Yeah.
We could do 20 anyways.
20?
Let's do 20.
All right. 20 meters nav.
Copy that.
So we've got another yellow coral there to the left, just going off screen.
Sure,
I
we
wonder
can
if we
check
could
that
do
out.
a quick zoom on that. This is one that Tina couldn't quite get a good perspective on before. Just now he's hidden by the corallium.
Bridge RV now.
But maybe if there's some way to...
Yeah, ready for a
There's
move.
another rock pen down there as
20
well.
meters, bearing 285
I'm gonna call
degrees,
those
speed decimal 2.
polybelemnon.
Polybelemnon?
Yeah, I think that's the best bet for him.
Okay, video, come in on this yellow
Good copy.
coral.
And now we got the polyp side. I think this is the side that Tina wanted to see, so this is a great
Okay.
perspective for her.
Try to come back to it.
Beautiful corals. Looks like it lost a couple branches on the top.
Let's kill lasers.
Yeah, copy.
I don't see any
Lasers off.
sub-branching. So I guess it's a Bathypathes, I would assume. I don't know what Tina's going to come up with in a moment, so she gets a chance to look at it. You know, Asako, I'll just throw out a comment to you too, since you work on plexaurids. We have seen Acanthogorgia, but we have yet to see a single plexaurid. And this is a reasonable depth that we would expect some at, so just kind of noting that they're missing from this community. And we'll certainly keep an eye out for some of those. I'd like to see a few of them. Plexaurids are really beautiful sea fans. They come in all different colors. They're very soft sea plans, so you see them waving around a bit. You can get up into the shallow scuba diving depths as well. And so hopefully we will see some of those. Tina is she's comfortable with Bathypathes as the ID for that, so thank you. Said we can leave it as that for now.
Great.
Come on out, video. And did you do that second move?
Was that move initiated, Bridge? Good copy. Thanks, Bridge. Move initiated, pilots.
All right. Pushing on.
So we have not collected any rocks today. We have
That's
found
something for Chris
not
Moss.
very much.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh yeah, you got a star.
I
Starfish
got
alert.
something for you.
Oh, and this might even be something else. Haha.
At least it's not eating a coral this time.
The day is young. Well, look at it. It might even be on that Antipatherian. What
Yeah,
is that?
It could be.
All right, you can start coming in on
Okay,
this.
so it's not
well, let's
actually.
let's hit it with the lasers first, co-pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Lasers
thank you.
are on.
Wow.
That's a big boy.
Might be the
10
biggest
centimeters.
dive.
So the lasers are 10 centimeters apart, which means it's quite a large animal.
All right, let's zoom. And
Zoom, zoom,
you
zoom.
can take lasers off.
Lasers are off.
Ah, my old friend. Oh, that's lovely. This is Gilbertaster. I've never seen this alive before, but it's been recorded from this area. The first time it was recorded from the Hawaiian Islands, it was in 1906. I've seen maybe one or two of these, and now I'm actually seeing one alive. This is like I almost brought to tears. It's really an amazing critter. This is the species is Gilbertaster anacanthus. It's named after, I think, like the Fisheries Commission guy, Michael Gilbert. I'll have to double check on the etymology. But yeah, we can. I mean, that's it. It's wonderful. Thank you. We can move on. But lovely. I've never seen this alive before. And it really is just as beautiful as I thought it would be.
All right.
Thank you. It's quite large too, which is interesting.
Move complete. Thank you, Bridge.
I think I had one of these as a question mark.
Move is complete,
somewhere.
pilots.
Got it.
Find
Copy
it in the
that.
gallery.
Get your lasers back on. Alright, looks like there's a little jump here.
Oh,
wow.
my.
I don't see any overhangs though, so I think
It's
you're good.
steep though.
Yeah.
That was the only picture we ever had of it. It was in the Hurl gallery
Yeah.
beforehand. Pretty fuzzy,
Yeah.
you know, because it's an older photograph.
Is it turning south yet,
So-
pilots, or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, that was back in
We'll know over this.
2004 maybe?
Yeah,
Just
it's,
the top
it's
is
not
a good idea.
swollen
I
or
would
sort of
High
shown
Peg
in
would
live
show
mode.
something
Right,
like
so you couldn't really
west
get
or
the
south of
details
west
that you
right
just
now
got now.
for uphill.
Those are, in my
Copy that.
estimation, those are closely related to the hipbasterines,
see
the
what
things
your-
that feed on
We're
your
almost
coral.
there.
It wouldn't
Sonar
surprise me at all
says.
if it was feeding on something in this area. But then, of course, all sea stars do seem to feed on
Try to
corals, so
make it some
at least
vertical progress
goniastrids
here.
in that group seem to feed on coral.
Looks like there's a short overhang coming up, but I don't think you're anywhere
So,
near
Chris,
it.
these hemicorallium, they're fairly solid animals, are they not?
That's correct.
So
We got
one of
some
the things
layers.
that most people don't realize
Yeah, I
is
think
that
that's what I was
corals,
seeing
even
right there.
shallow water corals,
Okay, I mean,
with hard
sediment
skeletons,
layers.
can actually be influenced by the current flow. This makes it sort of identifying and classifying them very difficult because their external shape, even if they're sort of hard skeletal-like bodies, can be influenced by their environment and can change in a sort of localized period, confusing which species they're identified as. And in this case, for example, we're seeing all of them in these very interesting parabolic fans.
Yeah, you don't really get sort of bushy corallids, with the exception of something that has remained in that the genus Corallium, and that's oh heck, what's the name of it? It's not really bushy. It's just a very small stump-like. It's the name escapes me at the moment because I haven't seen it for years. But most of the larger, more well-known coralliids are fan-shaped, like this one. The pluricoralliums, I'm trying to think. Pluricoralliums are all pretty fan-shaped, even though there's a deep-water white one that's a very leggy fan.
Huh, interesting.
But yeah, they all tend to grow in a planar sort of fashion.
I just love the way that they're just curved like that. I mean, planar, but they're sort of weakly convex.
Right.
Concave, excuse
Yeah.
me. I guess convex or concave depends on how you look at it, but
You can clearly see that the current is sweeping across, from right to left, and presumably if it's tidally driven, then left to right on it as well. And a lot of the corals are sort of oriented sort of vertically to intercept the current, which of course would maximize their feeding efficiency. I'm just seeing, I missed the umbellapathy. Sorry, Tina. You will have a look on it. Tina Molodtsova, who's participating via the event log from Cherchov Institute in Moscow, spotted an umbellapathes. That's another type of black coral, and we missed it.
We're starting to run out of tether pilot.
so for those who are watching, one of the other things about
Nearest sonar is
looking at
25 meters
a
out now.
landscape like this is that
just
even
wanna
though
do
we're
like
pointing out a lot of the
280
big
or
animals like the
so
corals
looking
and
at
the sea stars
285.
and the crabs, we're
Seems
actually also
pretty lined
seeing a
up.
lot of very tiny animals, and those tiny
happy with that
animals are
pilot?
That'd be
not
fine.
clearly evident,
Probably.
but
You wanna
there's
do
a lot of them. We passed a boulder
15 meters?
about
20.
half an hour
20?
to an hour
Probably.
ago that was just covered
280.
with tiny
I'm
little,
up
I think they were
overall with this.
zoanthids, and a number of these
And
rocks
this
are just
is
covered by millions of these little
Okay.
tube-like
I'll do
projections.
285.
And
Next
so
one we should,
we don't know what those are, but they could
Hypack
be
would
very
suggest we
important
should
to
turn
the
the port a little
ecology
bit, but
of
we'll see
this
what we see
area.
up here.
Yeah.
we go
yeah.
280,
And so much
275.
study
That
remains
helps.
to be
What'd you say,
to
Dan?
be done on,
If you want to go
on
280
the animals here
or
and their
closer
ecology.
that way, that's fine too.
Okay.
It's not 5 degrees here. There's not gonna hurt.
Good, Bridge.
All right.
Okay,
looks like
yeah,
we've got
good.
some time here.
Sounds good. They're going to change their heading first pilot, so
Sure. You're top of the
maybe
time.
explore the port maybe or something.
Yep, I will do that. Is that about it?
For tether, you can go a little more if you want. It's not tight at all right now.
Blue fish down here. Let's come in on this. Let's zoom on the fish.
That's one of the, Chris knows what it is. We saw one of these earlier
Okay.
with the big eyes.
Interesting split tail, too. Okay, video. That should do it. Thank you. Here's another one.
It's like
Can we get a zoom on some of these white patches on the rock
Sure.
surface?
Yeah, pilot, as you did come over, you do have a little more tether
Yeah, I see
out, so
that.
if you need it.
Yep. Video come in.
Okay. They're the broken bases of old corals. Yeah, we can move on. Thank you.
Okay. What's this in this hole?
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's one of those corals.
Ah,
Bathymyces is what they were calling it. There's a cup that's inside. We saw one earlier without the animal in it. It was sort of like a goblet with lots of ridges
Right.
around the edge. And so that's a proper coral, similar to the type we see in the type we see in shallow tropical habitats, except that it's a cup instead of a big colony. Yeah, like one of these on top. It's the same type.
zoom, please, video. I think this is a shrimp. Big striped shrimp.
Oh, interesting little shrimp. More of these mysterious tubules.
Still rotating now?
Yep.
Okay.
Should just be about complete here.
The ship is adjusting its heading, which is why we're
Okay,
stuck here
thank
for
you.
a minute or two.
Attention all hands, the ship's door will be opening for the next 10 minutes. Again, that's the ship's door opening for the next 10 minutes.
Right, I'm gonna come up a little bit.
Copy that.
Bridge ROV now. Stand by. Ship is. Geez, I'm going to get some comms. Yeah, do you guys like this heading or?
So this is
Still
Chris
hunting.
Ma from the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, and I'm here
Okay.
with the University of Hawaii's Chris Kelly.
Let me talk to my pilots for a
And
minute.
we're currently
We're getting a
the
new pilot
biology
settled in, so-
co-leads on the Okeanos Explorer expedition
Oh, it's another
Laulima
ship move.
Okamoana.
Josh.
We're surveying
They just changed their
the
heading.
Johnston Atoll region and looking at the different seamounts and environments around the Johnston Atoll area. Right now we're having a bit of a change of pilots and such in the first row. The sites you're seeing are large boulders. Some of the small white patches are the bases of former precious corals which have broken off over time.
Yeah, pilots were about ready to call and move.
But in the last hour or so, we've seen some sea stars feeding on
Does that sound okay with you guys?
sponges,
Yeah.
feeding on
Just a
corals.
quick
We've
question.
seen
Did we,
large crabs,
Coming down into the
with
valley,
very
or they go
long
around as
legs.
original plan?
We've seen
No, we kind of went
all
around
kinds of unusual sponges and tiny
No,
little
we came down.
creatures
I was just
living
wondering,
on the surfaces
originally.
of these boulders.
Oh yeah, so this,
Some of
this
which
was the
are
original plan.
zoanthids,
Yeah.
and some of
And
which
we
are
decided to do this.
mysterious tubes we've never seen before,
Oh.
or at least that we don't recognize.
Yep.
And here's an
So-
orange
Yeah, you guys ready for a move? Maybe
sea star
15
that's
or 20
coming
meters
up
towards you.
in front of us.
Yeah,
Pilot, are
15's
we?
fine. Yeah, come on in, video.
Yeah. Can we focus on the?
I'll do
Lovely.
280 at Sirius's heading.
And so this looks like another sea star, another Goni asteroid called Plinth Aster. This is in the family
Bridge,
Goni
I got a move for you
Asteridae.
when
This
you're
is
ready.
what we sort of informally
All right,
refer to
15
as
meters,
a cookie star.
Bearing
That's the name
280
that,
degrees,
that
speed
people
0
use in
decimal
lots
2.
of different contexts around the world, different species. But we can see
It's
the
good copy.
details so closely that we can see some of the diagnostic characters. Those little brown spots you're seeing around the radial areas of each arm are papula. That's how they breathe. They actually can absorb oxygen across little sort of finger-like projections that come off the top. And you can see the very almost, there's sort of little polygonal plates that make up the top surface of it. Oh, and we're seeing little snails off to on the lower side of the screen as well. Or are they hermit crabs? No, they're snail shells. I don't know what's in them exactly. But one of the things that's always important when we're looking at these habitats is to look at all of the small things. There are many, many organisms which live in the habitats of a rock like this. Sometimes they're very small, sometimes they're very big, sometimes they're flat and encrusting, sometimes they're big and form
Moon
large
initiated.
colonies.
If
And
thrusters ramp
so
up,
a
you go
rock
down
like
to
this
0.1
is
if you want,
habitat
Bridge.
for a multitude of organisms.
Yeah, I can hear.
Are we good on this star?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. We can go. I'm just...
What's the pink behind the sponge?
That's a closed-up anemone, Bob.
Okay.
yeah.
It was open, and then I disturbed it.
And so we just had a change out of our first row of our pilots and engineers. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Sure, this is Joshua Carlson in the pilot seat. To my left is Levi Unima. Is that right?
Unima. Yep.
Unima. I always pronounce your last name wrong. To my right is Andy Lister. And on shading is Bob Knott. And in the back row is Annie. And we're all part of the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration, or GFOE.
Great, thank you. And as we'd mentioned, this is Chris Ma from the National Museum of Natural History, Chris Kelly at the University of Hawaii, and over to our side is Nicola Rodriguez, who is helping us log species and is doing a tremendous job. Oh, what's this? On the lower left.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, we've got a
Come on in, video.
Yes, please.
Nobody's.
it's a Sympagurus. I think it's a type of hermit crab.
What's on the...
It's an anemone.
Oh, it is an anemone.
Yeah,
Thought
so
it might
this
have been
looks like it could be even Sympagurus dolphini or something close to that.
Now, is this is one of those hermit crabs where the anemone has actually replaced the shell, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's no shell under there. It's there's a bond between the crab and the anemone. I guess I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, that's why they're. I think the genus name kind of implies this relationship. The Sympagurus.
Wow, look at the claws on that thing.
I'm trying to figure out. Well, I'm just going to
Oh, we're
tag it
good.
as.
Thanks, pilot.
Yeah, copy that.
Apologize if you hear a couple mutterings from me. We're getting used to this C-Scrab annotation software and pull-down menus that sometimes I get a little confused about trying to find things.
Wow, that guy is a real trooper. Gal. That crab. yesterday or the day before, we saw a similar type of hermit crab. Instead of sea anemone, it had about 4 or 5 different zoanthids, which are similar in appearance to sea anemones, projecting off of its body, where it had the same thing going on. The shell had been replaced by a sort of cnidarian-shaped covering.
When you good video.
So we're good when you are. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, that's a dead ringer for the photo in the Okeanos Animal Guide of Symphomerus dolphini.
Slower.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty
so
far away.
Okay.
that particular
Yeah,
anemone
look
on
at-
his back was
look at
closed
Sirius.
up. That's why it wasn't initially obvious what it
Yeah, you've
was.
seen
And
the-
this
So
one-
that species
get a
of
good
hermit
depth
crab
on that.
we've got identified in the Hurl Identification Guide as
this is the Okeanos.
oh, the
identification
Okeanos
guide.
identification.
It's also in the Hurl Animal Identification
Coming
Guide.
up at
So
you, Andy.
Symphomerus dolphini.
dolphini, yep.
Coming up with you.
Hey Nav, do you know how long that last move was? For?
It was 15 meters, so it should be stopped.
Great.
Maybe like 45 seconds ago.
Great, great.
Pretty nice steep terrain. These presumably are large blocks of carbonate that have broken free from the wall, the terrace. And
What's that orange thing up on the top there?
I think it's a fish, perhaps. Maybe a scorpionid or another one of these tarkies, but we could take a look.
Yeah,
Pilot, do you want
We
me to
could,
adjust your
zoom
mini
in,
Zeus or
please.
anything? Or are you happy where it is?
pilot.
It's fine where it is.
It could be an
Okay.
octopus,
on,
actually.
dude, video.
I think you've got an octopus.
Haha!
Good eyes, Chris.
An octopus, an octopus, an octopus puss.
Oh, we got a big fish out there.
Not doing anything though.
Swam off.
Pilots beware, we're doing
So-
a heading change 10 degrees report.
We have
Copy that.
our first octopus. It looks to be sort of sitting in repose, resting perhaps. Its tentacles are withdrawn. Octopuses are, of course, behaviorally complex and do a lot of neat things. And in the deeps, there are a lot of species with interesting life habits. Some of the very deep ones can take years to brood their juveniles. These are often, in shallow waters, octopuses are known to be very efficient learners, and there are commonly stories about octopuses escaping from aquaria in which they're placed for display. I myself have had stories told to me about how they've undone the locks on tops of their aquarium and made their way into places where the crabs are next door.
It's a pretty funny Geico ad out, but I'm not doing a plug for a company.
Mike Vecchione, my colleague from the Smithsonian, reminds me that this is an octopod, not the genus octopus. And I stand corrected. There are several genera of octopods. So this is an octopod, an octopus-like cephalopod.
So, Mike, do you have any idea which genus this could be? I'm trying to look through the galleries because it looks vaguely reminiscent of something I can't remember the name of right now.
So Mike reminds me that taxonomy of benthic octopods at this depth is very difficult. So we often require certain characteristics in order to tell them apart. Sometimes they're fine characters that you have to look at under a scope or reveal through dissection. So it's not always possible to get an ID from an image of some of these specimens. But he definitely puts this into the family Octopodidae.
So, Mike, is there any chance this could be pterodactylus? Because I'm just looking at some of the old
He
Hurl
just says
photos.
could be pterodactylus.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah.
Okay, because we have something in the Hurl Gallery, Pterodactylus hoylii. It's taken me a long time to find the image of it in that gallery. And it's, as I recall, is the eyes, the yellow eyes were one of the distinctive features on that. But
Yeah. But you can see that there are some very nice distinct suckers that the arms are using to attach to the wall. Very agile looking beast. Okay, I think we've harassed this fellow long enough. We can move on.
When you're good, video.
Thank you.
Well, Octopod is the family. It's Octopodidae, and Octopus is a genus in the family Octopodidae. So the common name, just to confuse things even more, is octopus. But that term is used for members of different genera within the family Octopodidae. So there's where the confusion lies. And sometimes when we call it just octopus, then somebody doesn't know whether we're actually being specific to the genus or whether we're just talking about it in more the common name, octopus. But yeah, that's it. It's a complex group, and they're very hard to study. They're hard to collect down in deep water, as Mike pointed out. So, yeah, and they can change their morphology so much. It's very hard to come up with some consistent characters, I think, that you can readily observe. They can change colors. They can change the appearance of their skin. And
What's this on top of the rock here?
you didn't like my octopus discussion?
I'm loving it,
Okay.
Chris.
All right. Fine.
I'm just saying, what's this? I'm just curious what this sort of straw white cluster is on top of the rock.
It's Aguchistamnia. It's a scleractinian. Do you really wanted to know? But
Okay.
it's my best guess at what it is from here. But yeah, thanks for pointing out something different.
We may now commence with your octopus lesson.
No, I'm done. That's it. Probably.
Oh wow.
Mike is. Oh my goodness.
Ah, wow.
That is cool.
Today is a day of things.
Yeah, do sponges rule or what?
Holy fark. That's amazing.
I'm not moving, pilot. If you want me to turn and follow you for a little while.
Yeah, you can turn a little bit. Should
So,
we count?
Are
We've
these
got some.
sponges?
Excuse me, pilot. So, in addition to the sponges, there's some anthomastus corals at the top of the screen that we like to image.
Copy that.
There's a lot of
Nice,
stuff
too.
here. It's actually
Wow.
worth taking a look at.
Are those anthomastus or are
That's
those corals?
I think they're anthomastus. And then these sponges possibly are phoriids, but I've never seen an incredible bed of phoria near Oka like this. And that's just a guess from this distance. I think that's right.
Wow.
Hey, come on in, video.
So we're currently looking at a mass aggregation of these are glass sponges. This is
Correct. Yeah.
in the genus Phorea. And also, we're looking at an adjoining group of soft corals, strawberry. Are they strawberry or mushroom corals?
Mushroom corals.
Mushroom corals. And they're very similar to the genus Anthomastus, although I'm probably about to be corrected by someone on the shore.
Yeah, so we're fortunate. Did Tina? Tina's gone. Tina. Oh.
But
Of course,
you can
she
see,
actually needs to sleep on occasion. So.
But we've got a very gorgeous zoom on one of these Anthomastus-like corals, and you can see each one of these polyps. This is the sort of mouth plus 8 tentacles. These are animals in the Corallidae, and so there are distinctively 8 tentacles around a feeding. Around a mouth. Each of those tentacles has a slight projection coming off of it, sort of a pinnate structure, and these all converge on the central body, which is shaped kind of like a large mushroom. But the majority of the things that we're seeing on this rock face are these glass sponges, and it really is an amazing array of them.
Yeah, this is a very familiar glass sponge in Hawaii, and you do get them in abundance in certain places, but this particular wall is rather amazing. Not sure I've ever seen so many in one place. There's hundreds, if not thousands of them. This is a really beautiful glass sponge. It's very, very thin, paper thin, really. It's only got a couple of, the actual framework is only several spicules wide, if you will, which gives it a very translucent appearance.
And so what's a spicule?
Spicule is a microscopic part of a glass sponge made of silica, and it gives the structural support. It's a hard element. Tissues are formed around these particular spicules, and some sponges, the spicules fuse together and form a very rigid structure, which is what we're looking at here with this sponge. If you were to try to poke or grab this thing, it would just break off. And then there's other sponges where the spicules are not fused together, and when you grab them, they're squishy because they're not stuck together. They're just loose in the tissue. So spicules are the basis for glass sponge taxonomy, as well as the basis for other groups of sponges, the taxonomy of other groups of sponges.
What's going on in there? Some blue stuff.
That's some type of a coating.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're really, the architecture of sponges is really fabulous. That's one of the reasons why I'm interested in them.
What might be the reason for this huge number of sponges?
I'm not really sure. It could be that you get some pioneer colonies that wind up on the wall, and then they're depositing offspring very close by, and you very slowly over time build up a large number. Could be pheromones in the water, so once you get a few on the wall, others are attracted.
And I believe Les and the others are also pointing out the Acanthogorgia. There's these yellow bushy colonies along with them.
Yeah, I see the Acanthogorgia, okay. We're looking at them sort of end on because of the vertical wall.
Great. Well, it seems to be two of these two species that form the dominant sort of covering on this surface. The sponges and these sort of yellow bushy gorgonians, and now we're
pilots. We're doing another heading change
onto the
report.
surface of the edge of this rock, where the Acanthogorgia seems to have assumed dominance, numerical dominance anyway.
Could video just request another sort of wide shot of that wall? Is there any way that we can go back just a foot or two to get that?
Yeah, and then let's get this Acanthogorgia wall after that, because, boy, how about that? Two side-by-side beds of completely different organisms, one on one face and one on the other. That's something you don't see every day.
Right. And so to people listening, this is the kind of thing that deep-sea biologists such as
that's
Chris
good.
and
Thank
Chris, we try and look at why you have these massive sort of and sometimes abrupt changes in the number and abundance of species in a particular area. Why do you see this exact same species covering this entire wall, or perhaps in conjunction with the other species, the other corals, and then suddenly shift on the other side of this rock to that other coral species? So one sponge, one coral, and then these actually form perhaps a setting for all these other animals, such as these crabs and these fishes.
Wait. We got to talk about the fish. You're talking right through the fish.
Okay.
That's a barracks.
Fisher crab.
My goodness. It's a barracks. So that's an Alfonsino. I just wanted to point that out because there are probably some fishophiles here. I think Brian Green's still on the event log. So this is a commercially important fish down in the South Pacific area.
Yes.
So,
and that's a good point, because a lot of times when you have big aggregations of sponges and corals like this, these can actually be important for the fisheries, because sometimes fish lay their eggs in these areas, or sometimes they just hunt. There are studies from the Atlantic that show that some fishes are actually commercially important fishes are actually larger in association with deep sea coral forests like Lophelia, and perhaps this area is poorly studied, but perhaps there's the same kind of significance. And there's a starfish right at the center there, and so this area is an ecosystem for a whole bunch of different kinds of animals.
Was that just a rock the whole way down?
I'll
the
bet.
dark? Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on in.
10 cents. This is Henricia.
In the fish.
It's right next to a different species of scorpionid as
Yeah.
well. That's a true scorpion fish.
Yeah.
in the
So this is the sea star Henricia. These are sponge predators. I don't have a species right off the top of my head because Henricia is one of those starfish that taxonomists consider terrifying because they all look like this, and they look like this consistently or nearly so throughout the world, and it takes a very fine-tooth comb to tell them apart. And so even though they're ecologically important, and this one's feeding on a sponge, presumably, there's still a lot we need to learn about telling them apart and figuring out how they've evolved into different areas and diversified into different places in the world. Anyway, let's pull back and see if we can't get more of a survey of what's going on this wall.
Come on out, video.
Thank you.
You see how close I got with the upper string arm?
Well, yes, but I thought
There
you were
was
watching
a,
them.
squat
You mentioned
lobster.
earlier.
Could we take a look at this
Oh,
sort of
okay,
clear
we'll give you a
blob,
form.
Josh, before we pull off the wall?
What was that, Chris?
The clear ball that's right in
No.
front of us. I wonder if we
Copy.
could take a quick look at that, please.
Come on in, video.
Ah,
So this is really cool.
do you want to tell them or shall I?
No, I'm gonna go for it.
So my guess is that this is a sea slug, like a pleurobranchiid, a side gill slug.
Right, I've never seen one quite like this, but it looks like there's the head end over there to around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock position, if
Yeah.
that's right.
What did you think it was?
No, I was debating between a sea slug and what was that, monoplecophoran or something? That
Oh, I don't think it's a monoplecophoran.
I don't think it's a
There's no shell.
monoplecophoran either. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this
so
is a
this-
real weird slug, if that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Steady
I don't know
shot.
if it's a described species, and I'm not even sure. It fits the general overall shape of what I've seen before as, like I said, a pleurobranchiid or a side gill slug, but it might be something else. But I think it's definitely some kind of sea slug. It looks like it's translucent, and it might even be feeding on something below the surface. There's kind of a yellowish thing below the translucent cover. How, at your convenience, pilot, if we could get some lasers also to see how large it is.
Come on out a little bit.
Thank
video.
you. Ah, so it's big too. It's 10 centimeters across. Yeah, that's got to be some kind of slug.
That is an oddball.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, did any of you listening, do any of you realize that there is a sea slug forum? And it's a rather remarkable, and I'm not joking here, so I'm actually being quite serious. It's a website, and there's a lot of mollusk experts who submit their images of sea slugs from around the world to this forum, and they compare notes and post the pictures, and they'll help you out. And so it's a
You want
really
wine,
fabulous
pilot?
website.
Yeah, you can come out.
You guys should check it out sometime. Those of you who are interested in those animals. I think the Canthagorgia bed was a little off to the left, but it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of, maybe just to look down over that face because there's so many of them down there. Yeah, there they are. That's just bizarre. So I don't see any of the sponges here. The Acanthogorgias
Should
wrap
always have your
around
swing
the
arms
ledge, but the sponges don't
lower.
seem to. So how do you interpret that? I don't know.
makes me wonder if maybe is there a current flow that's on that side of the rock that isn't on this side of the rock?
I have no idea.
Huh.
Current seems to be coming from my port.
From your port?
Yeah, across the rock, like this,
So would the sponge be kind of...
in the lee.
The sponges might be tucked in a little ways. Maybe they can't take a really strong current, being fairly delicate.
That seems like a plausible notion. That the Canthogorgiids, maybe, I mean, speculating purely off of just what we've seen. I mean, this could even be some kind of succession.
Excuse me a moment. Pilot, could we look at this colony to the upper right, larger colony? And there was possibly some interest in collecting one of these, I believe, by one of the scientists. If it turns out it's the same thing, I think it's a bamboo coral. But maybe we can get a little closer. It might be a good position to grab one if it is. And it is a bamboo coral. I don't know. We could throw that out to the group. I'm not sure if it's the same one we saw earlier. Les, do you care to comment?
Now, do we have any samples
caught up there at home?
Yeah, both port full.
There's also something on the branches.
Both port bio are full.
Both
it's a shrimp.
port bio are full. Copy. Starboard's completely empty.
Yes, sir.
So the reason we've gone ahead and identified it as a bamboo is because it's got these periodic black nodes along the branches,
Thrusters are
and
ramping
that's
up.
very
They're
distinctive.
fiddling around with.
And then we've
what's
got
the surface current right now?
Plesionica,
Which
I think
direction?
it is. Plesionica shrimp.
Let me bring it up.
Is the shrimp living on the
This
coral,
what
or
we're
is it
seeing?
being eaten by the coral?
No, I think
The
it's
ship's
living
DP
on
is
it.
seeing
Yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah,
Pretty
looks
much
like it.
It's got
south.
with the wind. Yeah, that's just the Oh, yeah.
And
Okay,
then
I
wind's
can
coming
see.
from the east. So there's some differences.
Okay.
So yeah, just be prepared. Right now our bailout's 130, which would put us down slope off this.
So what Les thinks it's worth picking up.
That was what the ship
Sako
was
thought
pointed
it
that
looks like
direction,
it's
so
a different... You mean
just
from
be
the
prepared
earlier
to
one,
bend.
Sako? And it looks like the branches are a little more robust.
Even if
but
the ship
those-
pulls ahead there, we should still
maybe
be
it's
okay.
just
'cause we're
morphological
going upslope.
difference in where they're living. What do you think, Les? Do you think this really is something different, or we're not getting a whole
Do you want
lot
to move
here?
you,
I guess
10
you
meters
know.
closer
That's-
at all?
Do you, Les? Do you think this
yeah,
is
I'd
the
be
same
okay with
thing
that.
that we were
This is
seeing
a sample.
earlier that had
Are you
much
happy
thinner
with that?
branches? I think
Yeah.
so Sako's focusing on the
I'd be
fact
okay with
that
that.
this looks like these branches are a lot thicker.
It's, let me turn a little
But
bit.
the fact that this
Would you be
bamboo
okay
doesn't
with
have
this
those
10
red
meters
mouths and a lot of polyps on it, to me it looks similar to
Be
that
about
earlier one.
240, I believe.
You know, Josh, let's go ahead and grab this thing because I think it'll be an easy
Come on,
collection,
dude.
and that'll
Would you like
give
me
us
to
our
put your
3
lower
biologics.
port
If you
swing
could
arm in
get
while
the
you do it?
shrimp too,
Okay.
that
You're
would be
spun up.
ideal.
You're
But
ready to
it's
go.
going to take off, I think.
Starboard's free.
I'll just leave ship still
Okay,
for now.
that's fine. That'll be good. That way we're not straining the thrusters right anymore. Starboard's free. You're spun up.
Thank you.
We're at a depth of 431 meters. Our O2 has risen a bit. Now we're just over 2 milligrams per milliliter, so we're starting to head back up as we get into shallower water. Our temperature is right around 8 degrees Celsius. Again, these are for the folks that aren't on the event log and seeing the updates from the CTD on the ROV.
Is there a particular part of this you want, Chris?
Well, I was going to suggest, I don't know if it's worth trying to go for that shrimp. I know the right side is easier for you to grab, and I think the shrimp's going to jump off.
I mean, either side is fine. It's up to you.
Let's go for the right side, because it's a nice little branch coming off of that side that would be easy to grab.
You want your monitor switched?
And we go on starboard inboard on this, do you think?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, thank you.
So you want the right side?
Yeah. Yeah, there's the shrimp already taken off. There's no way he was going to let you get him. Except he just jumped on the branch you're collecting. All right, that's weird. That's got to be the stupidest shrimp I've ever seen in my life. All he had to do is just stay where he was, and he was good.
Can I switch your monitor, pilot?
What do you want to do?
I was gonna put up mini Zeus for you
It's fine.
while you stow. Okay.
Alright, I gotta pull up a little bit. I don't know if the shrimp's gonna stay on after I pull up.
That's okay.
He's still holding on.
Oh, he's still holding on. It's going to go into starboard inside. Oh, he bailed. Okay, that's it.
Alright,
Alright,
when you're ready.
Pilot ship's moving.
Not
10
that
degrees
stupid,
port
I
ahead.
guess.
Extending drawers.
He just wanted a little thrill ride.
Clear?
Clear.
Yeah, he's got him.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Josh.
Secured?
Appreciate it.
Secure.
So that's going to complete our collections for
Hydraulic
the
secure.
day.
Yeah, with those. So what's our heading? Which direction are we gonna go?
For the next move.
Yeah.
So I'd like to start to curve you, hook you towards south. So if we go maybe 245, 250 for the next move,
2-4.
or whatever. So I want to keep you this side of the ridge. So even heading of Sirius currently 245. If you'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Great. Ship is doing heading change right now though.
Okay.
So
Let me know when you're ready.
Copy.
I'll keep looking around.
great.
What's our off bottom thing?
We're shallow, so it'll be 15 till. So we still have 15 till 2:30 or 4:30 local. So we still have an hour and
Could
45.
be different types of black coral side by side. The redder one and the whiter one on to the left of it.
Huh. You come on in video?
Oh yeah, weird.
Yeah, I wonder if we could take a peek. No. The one on the left is not a black coral. I'm guessing this is the...
Is that a sponge in front of it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think this is a Staropathes in a little bit different branch.
You know,
a
what's
little
also weird is the one the one behind it also has a sponge in front of it.
Yeah, it might be a Bathopathes. This is a really nice shot. I think Tina would go with Staropathes on this one, but let's see if she's... Oh, she's checked out.
She's checked out.
That's right, so... I'll have to... put it as a question mark.
I'm just going to rotate over to this other one.
We're good, Chris?
Yeah, we're good on that one. And then, yeah, let's look at this. Yeah, this is another species of black coral, a very different one. This is one that she thinks might be Trisopathes, I believe. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it that tentatively. So you have two side by side, two different species that look very different. It's not the color of the tissue, it's the color of the skeleton that gives them their name.
All right, pilot. So would you be happy with the 20-meter move at 245?
Oh, look at this guy.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. So I think this is some type of, I guess, chirostylid, I suppose. It's a squat lobster. Okay. Les pointed out, I'm just getting caught up in the event log. Les pointed out the shrimp was not an obligate commensal or associate, or it wouldn't have left. So, of course, it could have jumped back down
Video
to the
pulling
colony
right?
again.
Yeah,
But
come on
yeah,
in.
I'd agree. I don't think Plesionica are often really obligated with that many types of corals. But actually, I'm not sure.
There's a couple sea stars here.
Yeah, I think these are the same types as we've been seeing the plinth aster or the pelt aster. We can move on.
All right, copy that.
There's a couple more. There's big bamboo down there, off to the right, down on the ledge. I think it could be the same thing that we just collected.
Let's do a
There's
snap.
quite a few of those cookie stars.
Let's come on in video. Let's come on in video.
By the way, these bamboo corals are also considered precious corals, particularly at this depth. And so it's actually, we managed to collect two essentially groups of precious corals today.
Oh, wow.
Pretty nice. Lots of sponges on the bottom. Yeah, a lot of cookie stars.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it is. Another bamboo coral.
What's that thing?
It's got a sea cucumber right at the base. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. So sea cucumbers are echinoderms. They're related to sea stars and sea urchins, although they might not look it. They're basically sort of fleshy tubes that are worm-shaped. They like to crawl around on the bottom of the seafloor, and they like to pick up organic food in addition to a lot of sediment, which they digest. They'll digest the food and then poop out the sediment afterwards, kind of like an earthworm. What you're seeing here, right through the body wall, is the intestine. And in the intestine, you can actually sort of locate, you can see that sort of golden stuff in the middle. That's the sediment that the animal is digesting as it processes it for eventual defecation. So that large loop right at the end is probably where that sea cucumber is about to unleash its clean sediment glory onto the bottom of the seafloor. And that little sort of curl spiral might be a recent deposition, return deposit to the sediment on the seafloor as well.
So I'm going to take a real stab at this and call it possible late Magonid, even though I didn't actually see if it had a lot of the tiny feet that's associated with that particular family.
Okay.
Yeah, let's come on out video.
Yeah, we can move on, I think.
Yeah.
Let's come on out.
Excuse me, pilot. You see this coral that's coming into the center from the left?
Please pardon the
white one?
interruption.
Could
Your
we
conference
zoom? It's right
contains less
center
than
now
3
by the
participants
lasers.
at this time.
I think this is
If you
something
would like
different,
to continue,
hopefully.
press *1 now.
Unless
or the
this is that
conference will be terminated.
Trisopathes. But
Come on in video.
just a quick snap zoom. No, it's not. Okay, I'm glad I actually asked you to zoom in on this one. So this is a primnoid. And yeah, so it could be Caligorgia, or it could be a couple other